So dear friends, we'd like to tell you a story
that started 200 years ago,
when the world was in the midst
of rapid and massive change.
Queen Victoria was soon to be born.
The new invention of canals
was already giving way to railways.
Now, at the same time, 3,500 miles away,
in Iran,
a country untouched by the Industrial Revolution,
something important happened. In the city of Tehran,
a boy was born.
Who would change the history of the world.
One night, his father had a dream. In this dream, he saw an ocean stretching out in every direction, as far as the eye could see. In the center of the ocean swam his son, strong and peaceful, with his long jet black hair floating on top of the waves. His body seemed to glow with light, attracting fish from every direction. As the fish gathered around him, each clung tightly to one of his hairs. But the fish did not bother the boy. He swam freely wherever he wished, while the fascinated fish swam with him. When his father awoke, he remembered the dream clearly. It seemed strange, yet wonderful, as some dreams do. But what did it mean? He would need to call on a wise man who understood the language of dreams. The ocean was the world, the wise man explained. The fish that gathered around the boy were the peoples of the world. His son would cause great turmoil amongst them, as he offered a new way of life, one of peace, hope, and unity. No one could stop him or stand in his way. No one will resist his march. No one will hinder his progress. Around him will they gather, and to him will they cling. Who was this child? Bahá'u'lláh, the divine physician.
The all-knowing physician hath his finger on the pulse of mankind.
He perceiveth the disease and prescribeth in his unerring wisdom the remedy.
When famine hits, the smallest suffer.
The following report contains some
in a hospital
disturbing
ward in the
images.
capital city, children are severely malnourished.
I will say to you that initially we're going to have
The all-knowing physician hath his finger on the pulse of mankind.
He perceiveth the disease.
Negativity, fear and hatred. And anger, of course.
Racism. They think more about their bodies than their minds.
I think a big one is the media, the way that the world portrays something.
Like mankind is tearing itself apart.
The all-known physician has his finger on the pulse of mankind. He perceiveth the disease and prescribeth in his unerring wisdom the remedy.
My name is Rhiannon Lee, and I am 12. I'm sorry.
My name is Ash Khan.
I'm Tessa Savetti and I live in Woking.
My name is Leah Crowley and I'm 12 years old.
I'm Thomas Lloyd Lee and I'm 20 years old.
I'm part of the Baha'i faith, which is one of the more recent religions that we have been taught by the manifestations of God.
The founder of the Baha'i faith was a man named Bahá'u'lláh. And really, he came about 200 years ago, and really his message was this idea of that the world needs to live in peace and harmony, that mankind is united.
He was a messenger of God
who came here to solve the world's problems.
Baha'u'lláh brings an opportunity to love everyone and to not judge people.
He gave to the poor, he tried to lead people in the right direction, believe in faith.
Baha'u'lláh is very important to me because ever since I was a young child, he was like my icon. He was my idol.
The reason I like Baha'u'llah's writing is because it literally opens your mind. So let's say if you can't think one day and you're stressing out, like you have a test tomorrow, it literally opens your mind and makes you go out of your comfort zone and think beyond.
Baha'u'lláh talks a lot about this, and it's this idea that junior youth and youth will be they will carry us into the future sort of thing. So when we're working the junior youth, they're going to be the ones, you know, the next presidents, the next like scientists, and they're going to have these values instilled in. The values of Bahá'u'lláh will be their moral framework.
My junior youth group, we're in Camberley, Deep Cut, and we all gather together every Sunday. It's for all ages, and I just love going there because we can talk to each other, express all our feelings and not get judged. It's one place where it's cool to be kind.
I found out about the junior youth group by some people coming to our house and saying that a group will start. It gives younger people a say in what's happening because as we grow older, we'll be learning how to deal with this stuff and support each other. And by learning it now, we have a few ideas of how to contribute to our country and our communities.
It offers many activities and I'm able to be creative and express my opinions without being judged.
Like if we had people from the different religions in the JY classes, we can like talk about our religion and see the links between them.
So my dad is from Afghanistan, he's Muslim, and my mum is Chinese. She says she's Buddhist.
I am Christian.
I'm a Catholic.
I'm a Christian.
The special thing about going to junior youth is probably the friendship where I can't really get anywhere else, you know what I mean?
In this workshop today, we're going to be looking at this idea of these constructive and destructive forces in society. And as I said earlier, like these are so important because until we see them, we can't solve them, sort of thing. So in this workshop, I'm hoping that the junior youth group they'll be aware of these, and we'll talk about them. So I'm not going to give them to them. I'm hoping that they'll be able to work them out for themselves and see the forces already, and so that we can, you know, start to combat them. See that how we can prevent ourselves from like joining these destructive forces and instead being a part of this constructive forces.
Racism. Yeah, the problems I see in the world is well, everywhere racism.
People would just use my race, my culture as an excuse to just bully me. They call me so many names like Chink and call me Packy, and some people just can't open their mind to it. They won't let themselves get to learn about that certain religion or culture.
Yeah, like people that bullied me because I'm a Catholic and they're Protestants, they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to burn your house, I'm going to throw rocks on your windows and everything like that.
Poverty, hatred, anger, abuse.
Alcoholism, anorexia, drug addiction and bulimic.
They do self-harm because they feel like they're not worthy.
But of course media has it. It's so you have to look pretty, otherwise you aren't accepted, which most people have to go under a lot of stress just to make themselves look and seem acceptable.
It's just like the social world and what these models and all these people who are seen in a higher place or seem to be perfect and have all the perfect faces and perfect lips and eyes and body and stuff like that.
The terrorists believe in something, their own religion, and they believe if you do bad in something, bomb things and all, you'll go to heaven. So it's all got to do with misunderstanding and disagreement.
It does make sense. In the end, isn't it anger and fear the reason why all these things exist? It's the reason why this world is so divided today, why we have so many separate countries, so many wars.
It kind of leads to chaos if you don't have an intelligent leader who is selfless.
Well, they should go investigate it for themselves and stop believing what people tell them, because people tell lies all the time.
And that's why nobody trusts each other anymore.
I wonder if you knew
that not so long ago,
before the First and the Second World War,
our world leaders
were offered a remedy
for the social sicknesses
that afflicted their people.
Baha'u'llah's world-changing teachings greatly challenged authority. In 1867, whilst a prisoner of the Ottoman Empire, Baha'u'llah wrote a series of letters to the world leaders of his time, addressing, among others, Emperor Napoleon III of France, Tsar Alexander II of Russia, Persian ruler Nasruddin Shah, and Queen Victoria. In these letters, Baha'u'llah spoke of the dawn of a new age. But first, he warned, there would be catastrophic upheavals in the world's political and social order. To pave the way, he urged the world's leaders to pursue justice, end slavery and oppression, lay down their weapons and come together to establish a long-lasting peace. However, these rulers mostly ignored Baha'u'llah's letters. The king of Persia, Nasruddin Shah, was so insulted by receiving this letter that he ordered the young messenger to be killed. A 17-year-old boy who had travelled a long way in dangerous circumstances to deliver it. As Baha'u'llah prophesied, all their reigns came to abrupt and ugly ends, all except Queen Victoria, who was more positive than the other rulers towards the letter, and whom Baha'u'llah praised for abolishing the slave trade and for taking significant strides to make the British voting system more fair and representative. Many years later, in 1926, one of Queen Victoria's granddaughters, Queen Marie of Romania, actually accepted Baha'u'llah's teachings and became the first member of a royal family to become a Baha'i. Queen Marie wrote these words in an open letter. The Baha'i teaching brings peace and understanding. It's like a wide embrace, gathering together all those who have long searched for words of hope. It accepts great prophets gone before. It destroys no other creeds and leaves all doors open. Saddened by the continual strife among believers of many confessions, and wearied by their intolerance towards one another, I discovered in the Baha'i teaching unity instead of strife, hope instead of condemnation, love instead of hate, and a great reassurance for all men.
The all-knowing physician hath his finger on the pulse of mankind.
He perceiveth the disease,
and prescribeth
in his unerring wisdom
the remedy. Every age hath its own problem, and every soul its particular aspiration.
The remedy the world needeth in its present day afflictions can never be the same as that which a subsequent age may require.
Be anxiously concerned with the needs of the age ye live in.
God sent down Abraham, Krishna, Moses, Zoroaster, Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad, Bab, and Baha'u'llah. We should all work together, whether we're Catholic, not Catholic, so a theist or an atheist, doesn't matter. We should all just work together to better the one thing that we share, which is being here on earth at the same time.
the Baha'i faith, it is explained that mankind is like a bird, and that it's like the two wings of one is men and one is women, and they both have to be equally valued and respected for the bird to be able to fly. But maybe one wing is stronger than the other, so the bird can't exactly fly, but instead drops.
When I look at the community, I think that we could be much better off if we were all together and united.
Most important is to gain trust with like the community or people around you, so that way they know they can rely on you if things get rough.
And like racism, like, come on, like, God made us equal. God made us equal. He didn't make someone perfect. There's no one perfect in the world, and there's nothing wrong with being different skin colours.
The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens. I see beauty, I see hope, I see faith, and I see a solution to the darkness. And there's always going to be weaknesses in the darkness, like the grey and the brown. It's a little bit less dark than the black, so there's always some light in the darkness. If you look really hard, you can see it.
We must all strive with heart and soul
until we have the reality of unity
in our midst.
And as we work,
so will strength be given unto us.